Hi team, greetings everyone. In the previous session, we saw how to manage the created project. Like we saw how to change the status of the project and what are the functionalities of different status of the project. So we saw all these things in our previous session. So in today's session, we are going to discuss about user management. So when I say user management, so this is the license of Steve. So here if you can see, when I want to see the license of this particular Steve, what I have to do, I have to just click on this license. So which will give me the license number of the Steve. So here if you can see, managed by Steve Anderson, and here this is the license number which is managed by the Steve Anderson. Now in this license I have created a project. Let me just navigate to project section. So in this project I have created a shopper stack project. Now I am not the only person who is going to work on this particular project. I want others also to work on this particular project. But in this license, I only have the access to access this particular license. Now, if I want to add the users to this license, then we come to user management. So let me just go to users here. So here if you can see, by default, Steve Anderson is displaying and the privilege is displaying as super admin. So to understand what is this privilege, let us see this. So privilege defines the access towards the license. Okay, so depending upon your privilege, it will define what is the access you are having in that particular license. And we have three different privileges. One is super admin, one is admin, and one is user. So let us discuss about these different types of privileges in detail. So when I say super admin, the one who is creating the license is called as the super admin, who is nothing but the owner of the license. So only if you can see in this license, by default, Steve Anderson is a super admin because Steve Anderson is the person who has created this particular license. So Steve Anderson by default will be the super admin of this particular license, which is nothing but owner of the license. So super admin is nothing but owner of the license. Then coming to this admin. Who is admin? Admin is very similar to super admin. Then what is the difference? So you are saying admin and super admin are very similar. Then what is the difference? So when I say the difference between super admin and admin, admin cannot do the license management. So admin cannot do the license management. So now the next question arises. What is this license management? So here, as we already have discussed different types of license. So we have cloud basic, cloud professional, on-prem. So we have different versions of license. If I want to upgrade my license or downgrade my license, that cannot be done with the help of admin. Only a super admin of the license can upgrade his license or downgrade his license. Admin cannot upgrade or downgrade the license. That is the only difference between super admin and admin. Coming to this user privilege, user is just like an employee who performs the assigned task. So who is going to assign this particular task for this user? Admin or super admin. So these are the three different privileges. So first privilege is super admin, who is nothing but the owner of the license. Admin is similar to super admin, who doesn't have the license management access. And user is just an employee who performs the assigned task. And who is going to assign the task? Super admin or admin. So when I say super admin, right, we have to understand some more restrictions that is applicable for super admin. So what are the restrictions? So there can be only two super admins per license. So when it comes to super admin, there can be only two super admins per license. Why? Because super admin is like a ownership of the license. So the ownership cannot be given to multiple persons. So we are restricting the number of super admins per license to 2, so that one super admin is not available, still the other super admin will be able to manage the license. Okay, who can add the super admin to the license? Only one super admin can add another super admin to the license. admin or a user cannot add another super admin to the license. Only a super admin can add another super admin, or he can add admin, or he can add user. So when it comes to super admin, a super admin can add another super admin or admin or user. So a super admin can add another super admin, admin or user. And a super admin can manage the license. Can manage the license. And a super admin can create projects and roles. Can create projects and roles. So what is this roles you are talking about? This is a future concept which we will be discussing. So once we are discussing about the roles, we will discuss in detail. Now the understanding should be a super admin can create projects and roles in a license. Talking about admin, is there any restrictions for admin? Oh, for admin also we have some restrictions. Let us discuss about that. So when I say admin, is there any restriction for number of admins? No. N number of admins can be added. So when I say n number of admins can be added, who is going to add the admin? Admin can add another admin, or he can add another user. Can an admin add another super admin? No, it is not possible. Only a super admin can add another super admin. So can an admin do license management? No. Admin cannot do license management. And can an admin can create projects and roles? Yes. An admin can create projects and roles inside the license. Coming to this users. Okay, user, does he have any kind of privilege, any kind of access in the project? No, he doesn't have any kind of access in the projects. And how many number of users can be added? N number of users can be added inside the license. So there is no restriction for number of users. N number of users can be added into the license. And who can add the user? Only the user, means only the admin or super admin can add another user. A user cannot add another user since he don't have any kind of privilege inside the license. And can he create a project? Yes. User can create a project. But can he create a role? No. He cannot create a role. So coming to this user privilege, n number of users can be added to the license, but a user can create a project, not the role. So these are the restrictions that is given for the different privileges. And as I told you, privileges defines the access towards the license. So when I say access, by default, super admin and admin. Super admin and admin, by default, they will have full access. What is this full access? So when I say full access, it is nothing but a super admin or admin have full access in the sense they will be automatically added to all the projects which are created. So if you are creating n number of projects inside the license, so all those projects, automatically this super admin and admin will be automatically added with the full access. So talking about full access, they can create a resource in that particular project, they can delete a resource in the particular project, and they can view the resources in the particular project. That is defined with the help of full access. Then what about the user? What about user privilege? So as we discussed, until unless super admin or admin give the access for this particular user, he will not be added to any kind of projects inside the license. A super admin or admin should add this particular user to the specific project. So that is the limitation for different privileges. So these are the different privileges and the limitations of different privileges. Now we have discussed about different privileges. Let me show you how to add a user with the respective privilege inside the license. So here, if you can see, the name is Steve Anderson and the privilege is super admin. Now I want to add another one person as a user under this particular license. So how do we do that? Just click on this plus user button, and here you are supposed to provide the email ID of the person who you want to add to this particular license. So I want to add Ned. So I'm going to enter the email ID which is registered in the FireFlink platform. So net.smith 7798@gmail.com. So I have given the email ID which is registered in the FireFlink platform, and I have to give the privilege for this particular user, and I want to add him as a super admin. So I'll just click on this privilege, and here if we can see, I have three different options: super admin, admin, and user. So let me select super admin. So here, once after selecting the privilege, if you can see, the name of the particular person is reflecting and the mobile number. How come? Because this particular email ID is already registered. So since it is already a registered email ID, I can get the name and phone number. So here I'll just click on add. So once I click on add, this particular user will be added to my license. So if you can see, Ned Smith, privilege is super admin, and if you can see here, it is showing as active. So there are different status of users which we will discuss in the further session. Now I want to make this particular super admin as a admin. Is it possible to edit the admin statements privilege? Yes. Just click on this edit button, and here you have a provision to change the privilege. Now I want to make this Ned as a admin. I'll change the admin. I'll just click on update. So now what happens? The Ned will be added as a admin. If I want to change the privilege to user, is it possible? Yes. Click on edit. Click on this privilege drop down, select user and update the same. So depending upon the privilege which I am going to give here, the access towards this license for Ned will be decided. So if he is a user, he cannot access all the projects under my license. So what I will do, I'll just make him as an admin now. Let me just click on edit, and let me just click on admin, and let me just update the same. So now Steve Anderson is a super admin of this particular license. Ned is a admin of this particular license. And if you can see, both of them are having active status. So when they are having active status, it is indicating that they are registered users of FireFlink platform. So we have three different statuses. So let us explore those also. So these are the three different statuses. One is active, activation pending, and disabled. Active indicates that they are registered users of FireFlink. So here if you can see, both Steve and Ned are registered users of FireFlink platform. So their status is mentioned as active. Okay. Now when I say activation pending, who will get the activation pending? So one who is not registered. So let us explore that as well. So let me go to the license, and now let me try to add a user. Let me just click on this plus user. I have to give the email ID. Now I'm going to specify a random email ID to make sure that is not registered in the FireFlink email, means FireFlink platform. So I'll just give a random email ID, and here I'll let me give the privilege as user. And here I want to give the name. Since he is not a registered user, name and phone number is not reflecting. So I'll give the name as dummy. And phone number is not mandatory. I'll just click on create. So once I click on create, if you can see, the user is added, but the status is mentioned as activation pending. So how can this person activate himself? So whenever you are going to add the person, right, you will be getting an email ID. You will be giving an email ID, right? Once you click on the name, will be getting the details of that particular user. If you can see, email, this email will be getting a email notification for activation link. the concerned person has to click on that activation link and he has to activate himself into this particular platform. So once he is activated, just click on this close. This particular status will automatically change into active, which indicates that he is a registered user. If it is in activation pending, it indicates that he is not a registered user. He has to register it. So this is activation pending. So now say for example, he didn't receive the activation link. He wants to receive the activation link once again. In that case, we have an option. Just go for more option. You have this option to resend activation link. Okay. Now let us assume that by mistake, while adding this particular user, I have given the wrong email ID. I want to remove this particular activation pending. So can we do that? Yes. Just click on this more option and say delete and say confirm. So once you confirm it, that particular user will be deleted. And you have to note one more point. I have deleted a user who is having activation pending status. Can we delete a user in this FireFlink platform? So we cannot delete a user. We can just disable a user in the FireFlink platform. Okay, now there's a question arising. Why can't we delete a user? Why only disable? Let us discuss that. So now this is the question which is arising. So one is why disable, why not remove? So let us assume one scenario. Scenario number one. NetSmith is a user of Steve's license. If you can see, NetSmith is added as a admin of this particular Steve license. See, this is the scenario. So let me just make it as admin. So in this scenario, NetSmith is the admin of Steve's license. And in the Shopper Stack project, Net has developed around 100 scripts. Now, let us assume that I have removed or deleted NetSmith from the license, from Steve's license. So what happens? Data related to NetSmith will be lost. Why? Because we have removed him and cannot track the script details. So this indicates that the 100 scripts developed by Ned will be present, but I cannot track who has developed it because all the data which is related to NetSmith has been lost since I have removed the person. Now NetSmith cannot access Steve's license. Correct. Once I remove the person, he cannot access Steve's license. So here what is the problem? We cannot track the record of this particular 100 scripts. Now I have lost the data so that I cannot track who has developed these 100 scripts. So this scenario we want to avoid this. So for that, let's assume the second scenario where NetSmith is a admin of Steve's license. And in the Shopper Stack project, he has developed around 100 scripts. Who? NetSmith. Now, instead of removing NetSmith, I have disabled him. So when I say disabled, the data related to NetSmith will be still present since I have only disabled him. And I can still track the record of this particular 100 scripts since I have the record present in my license. And NetSmith cannot access the Steve's license since I have disabled NetSmith. So here, don't you think the second scenario works the best? Still we can track the record of the 100 scripts and still we can disable the access towards the net, towards the Steve's license. So the second scenario works in the better version. So here in FireFlink, we go for the second scenario. Why? Because to avoid the first scenario, whenever you are going to remove a user, you are going to lose their data so that it becomes to track the work done by them. So whenever you are going to disable the user, you can track the work done by them and still you can restrict the access towards your license. That is why in FireFlink, we do not delete a user, we just disable the user. I hope this is clear. Now, let me show you how to disable the user. So for that, just click on this edit button and here you have a status toggle button. Just click on this status toggle button and say change and update the same. So now what happens? NetSmith will be disabled, meaning that NetSmith's record will be present in this license, but NetSmith cannot access this particular license. That is why we are not removing the user, we are just disabling the user. I hope this is clear. Now we have seen different status. One is active, activation pending and disabled. So let us have an overview. When I say active, he is a registered user. Activation pending, he is not a registered user. disabled, he is a registered user, but the thing is he cannot access our license. Now I have added Ned as a admin to this particular license and he is disabled now. Can we enable again? Yes. So just click on this edit button, change the status, change and update the same. So now if you can see, now in this license, Ned has been added as a admin in this license, correct? Now Ned has to access this particular license, correct? So Ned will be having his own license. So let me show you Ned's license. So I'm now going to switch to a different license. If you can see, this is a different license. And how do I say this is a different license? So normally when I say license, right, where do we check it? In the license section. Just click on this license section. And here if you can see, three different licenses are reflecting. Why? Because this is Net's own license. How I'm saying this is Net's own license? If you can see, managed by Netsmith, and he is the super admin of his license. And here there is another one license called as FireFlink Shopper Stack, and he has been added as an admin to this particular license, and it is managed by a different person called as Shopper. So this person has added Netsmith as a admin to this particular license. So only that particular license is reflecting. In the same fashion, Steve Anderson has added Netsmith as a admin to this particular license. So only this particular license is reflecting in the license section of Netsmith. And how do I say this is Netsmith? If you can see, this is a profile icon, right? Just click on it. If you can see, Netsmith is the actual user. This is a different license. And from this license, Netsmith has to switch to Steve's license. How he is going to do that? For that, he has to navigate to this license section, and here if you notice, we have a license drop down. Just click on this license drop down. Now he is, as Netsmith, he is able to see the Steve's license. All he has to do is just click on Steve's license, and here he has to provide the username and password of Netsmith, and here he has to click on switch license. Once he switches the license, now Netsmith will be able to navigate towards the Steve's license, and he will be able to work on the Steve's license. Now if you can see, Steve license is reflecting. So if you go to this particular project and if you go to this users, if you can see, they both are reflecting, Steve Anderson and Netsmith. Okay, now as Netsmith, he has switched to Steve's license. How he can navigate his own license? So how do we do that? Same procedure. Just click on license, use the same drop down and click on the Nets license and give the switch license. Before giving that, make sure email ID and password of Netsmith has to be given, since he is trying to switch between different licenses. So I'll just click on switch license. So now Netsmith will be present in his own license. So since Steve added Netsmith as a admin under his license, Netsmith can access the Steve's license. So to understand this, so if you can see, Steve license is separate, Ned license is separate. Since Ned has been added as a user under Steve's license, Ned can access the Steve's license. So if Steve want to access Ned's license, it is the same vice versa. Ned has to add Steve as a user or admin under his license, so that Steve can access the Ned's license. So whenever you want to access one of the another license, what we have to do, we have to ask the person to add us as a user or admin or super admin into their license. Once the user is added, then they can access that particular license. So this is the user management in FireFlink platform. So when I say user management, what we have to do, we have to go to this user sections and we have to click on this plus user, and once you enter the valid email ID, so here you can assign that particular user to your license with the respective privilege you want to give them. So once the user is added, they can use the license drop down to switch to your license. So we have seen this user management in this video, and in the next video we will discuss about the roles management. Thank you.